We've all heard the phrase, sharing is caring, but what if that's not the whole story? What if some kinds of sharing actually hurt us? And what if holding certain things back was the key to protecting our own peace of mind? See, modern psychology is uncovering a fascinating truth about secrets. It turns out, the act of keeping a secret isn't what wears us down. It's the constant thinking about it. This is what researchers like Columbia's Michael Slepian call the cognitive load of a secret. When we're preoccupied with something we're hiding, our minds never get a break. This mental juggling act drains our energy, spikes our anxiety, and can make us feel totally alone. But here's the crucial part: not all secrets are created equal. The real damage comes from rumination, the obsessive worrying about the secret getting out. The good news: we can choose which burdens we carry. By being intentional about what we share and what we keep private, we can lighten that load and reclaim our mental space. So, let's get into the 7 specific secrets you should probably keep to yourself to protect your inner peace. And trust me, the last one might surprise you. Alright, first up, your biggest, most ambitious goals. I know, this sounds completely backward. We're told to declare our intentions, to put it out there for accountability. But research suggests this can backfire, big time. A psychologist named Peter Gollwitzer discovered a weird quirk in our brains. When you tell people your grand plans, you're writing a novel, starting a business, getting into insane shape, you get an immediate hit of social recognition. People congratulate you, they say, "Wow, that's amazing," and your brain gets a premature sense of accomplishment. That validation feels great. A little too great. It can actually trick your brain into feeling like part of the work is already done. The motivation that should have been fueling your actions gets spent on soaking up the applause for just intending to do something. Now, this doesn't mean you should become a hermit who never discusses your dreams. The key is to be selective, not to broadcast. Instead of announcing your goals to everyone at a party, share them with a tiny circle of trusted people, a mentor, your partner, or a friend who is actually invested in your success, not just in applauding your announcement. These are the people who will check in and support you through the grind, not just like the initial post. Protect your drive. Let your results do the talking. The satisfaction of achieving a goal you've quietly chipped away at is so much better than the fleeting praise for a goal you've only just announced. Secret number 2 is a big one, and it's always awkward: your personal finances. Whether you're drowning in debt or riding a wave of success, broadcasting the details is almost never a good move. Money is tangled up with our sense of security, success, and self-worth. Because of that, it's a magnet for judgment, envy, and a ton of advice you never asked for. If you share that you're struggling, you might get some sympathy, but you also open the door to condescending advice or pity that just makes you feel worse. It can shift the dynamic in your relationships, making others see you as less capable or even a potential burden. On the flip side, sharing news of a financial windfall, a big raise, a smart investment, can be just as messy. It can spark jealousy and resentment, even from your biggest supporters. Suddenly, friends or family might treat you differently, making assumptions about you lending them money or dropping passive-aggressive comments about your spending. It creates this weird, inauthentic distance where you feel more like an ATM than a person. Keeping your finances private isn't about being dishonest, it's about protecting your relationships and your own sanity. Your financial life is yours. Constantly having to explain your choices or navigate other people's reactions is a huge mental burden. Instead of oversharing, keep the detailed money talk for people who truly need to know, your partner and a qualified professional like a financial advisor. With friends and family, it's totally fine to speak in general terms. You don't owe anyone your bank statement. The third secret to keep under lock and key is your family's private drama. Every family has disagreements and sensitive issues. Whether it's a feud between siblings or a fight over inheritance, those conflicts need to stay inside the family circle. When you air your family's dirty laundry to outsiders, you're not just venting, you're breaking an unspoken trust. You're taking a complicated issue and giving a one-sided story to someone who doesn't have the full picture. This can backfire in a few ways. First, you can trash the reputation of your family members, who aren't there to defend themselves. Now your friend has a biased, negative view of someone you love. Second, you risk digging yourself deeper into your own narrative. When you vent, your friends will naturally take your side. They'll validate your anger, which feels good for a minute, but it can make it way harder for you to forgive and reconcile later. Their support can end up fueling the fire instead of helping to put it out. And, of course, these stories spread. A secret told to one person can easily become gossip. Once it's out, you can't get it back, leading to huge embarrassment and deeper mistrust within your family. The right place for these frustrations isn't your social circle. If you really need to process these feelings, talk to a neutral third party, like a therapist. They're bound by confidentiality and trained to help you see all sides of the story, encouraging resolution, not resentment. Keeping family matters private protects everyone's dignity and leaves the door open for healing. We're about to jump to our fourth secret, but if you're finding this advice helpful, take a second to subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every week to help you build a stronger mind, and hitting that button helps us keep making them. Number 4 is about those deep personal regrets, the past mistakes that still make you cringe when you think about them. We've all done things we aren't proud of. And while those moments might have shaped us, they don't have to define us. Broadcasting them before you've fully worked through them yourself can be incredibly damaging. Psychology draws a crucial line between guilt and shame. Guilt is feeling bad about something you did. Shame is feeling like you are bad. Secrets rooted in shame are particularly toxic because they make us feel flawed and alone. When you share a shame-filled secret with the wrong person, you risk confirming your worst fear, that you'll be judged, rejected, or seen as a bad person. This just digs the hole of worthlessness even deeper. Now, this doesn't mean you should bottle it up forever. Not at all. In fact, research shows that confiding a secret in one trusted person can bring huge relief. The key word here is confiding, not broadcasting. Confiding is a strategic act of healing. It's sharing your story with one carefully chosen person, a therapist or a deeply non-judgmental friend, who has earned the right to hear it. Broadcasting is just emotional word vomit, sharing your vulnerability with anyone who will listen, often leading to more regret. You've just given a fragile piece of your story to people who might not know how to handle it with care. Before sharing a deep regret, ask yourself, have I made peace with this myself? And have I chosen someone who will offer compassion, not judgment? Your past is part of your story, but you're the editor. Be selective about who gets to read the most sensitive chapters. This next secret might be the most surprising on the list: your grandest acts of kindness and charity. In an era of performative everything, It's so tempting to post about our good deeds. It feels good to be seen as a generous person. But oddly enough, publicizing your altruism can actually cheapen the experience. Research in social psychology has explored this do-gooder dilemma. It turns out, people often feel worse after publicizing their good deeds, fearing their actions will be seen as self-serving, more about getting social credit than genuine kindness. When you tell everyone about your generosity, you risk turning a pure act of giving into a transaction for social approval. There's a quiet power in anonymous kindness. When you do something good without needing a round of applause, the act stays pure. The reward is that internal, warm glow, a feeling that science shows is a powerful boost to our well-being. When you broadcast the act, you trade that deep, internal satisfaction for a few fleeting likes. The focus shifts from the person you help to the image you're crafting. This isn't to say you can never talk about helping others. Encouraging people to be generous is great. But there's a world of difference between advocating for a cause and bragging about your personal contribution. True generosity doesn't need an audience. It's done for the act itself. Protect the purity of your good deeds and let them be a source of quiet, personal pride. The most meaningful acts of kindness are often the ones no one else knows about. Secret number 6 is about your health, specifically, keeping a new diagnosis or a significant health scare under wraps until you've had a minute to breathe and make a plan. When you first get unsettling health news, you're scared, confused, and vulnerable. The first instinct might be to call everyone you know for support. But sharing that news too soon can just amplify your own stress. Your friends and family, though they mean well, will bring their own fears to the table. Suddenly, you're drowning in questions you can't answer, horror stories about their cousin's neighbor, and a flood of unsolicited advice about diets and doctors. Instead of being able to focus your limited energy on yourself, you end up managing everyone else's panic. It's completely exhausting, creating a huge emotional burden right when you can't afford one. A much smarter approach is to hold that information close at first. Share it with one core person, your partner or a very close family member, who can help you process it calmly. Take time to talk with your doctors, understand the diagnosis, and map out a clear plan. Once you have that plan, you're in control. You can then share the news from a place of strength, not fear. You can say, "Here's what's going on, here's what I know, and here's the plan." This lets you control the narrative and set the emotional tone. It transforms you from a victim of the situation into the person in charge of your own healing journey, and you can be specific about the kind of support you actually need, instead of getting buried in chaos. And our final secret, the one that directly eats away at your inner peace, is that grudge you just can't seem to shake. A grudge is a heavy weight, a nasty cocktail of resentment and anger that you lug around everywhere. And when you constantly talk about it, you aren't lightening the load, you're just reinforcing it. Every time you retell the story of how you were wronged, you are forcing your brain to relive those negative emotions. You're strengthening the neural pathways of anger and victimhood, essentially practicing being bitter. Your friends, wanting to support you, will agree with your outrage, which only justifies your feelings and makes it even harder to move on. And honestly, it doesn't reflect well on you, either. It can make you seem negative and stuck in the past, draining the positive energy out of your conversations. You risk being defined by your grievance instead of your passions and your joys. Choosing not to talk about your grudge doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means making a conscious choice not to let it run your life. The work of letting go is an internal job. It might mean journaling, seeking therapy, or practicing mindfulness to get some distance from the anger. This is about taking your power back. The person you're holding a grudge against is living in your head rent-free. By choosing not to give that grudge a voice, you stop feeding it oxygen. You allow the wound to finally start healing. The best revenge against someone who hurt you isn't to dwell on it, it's to move on and live a happy, peaceful life. So, as we wrap this up, you can probably see the theme. This isn't about building walls or living a lonely, secret life. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing the difference between broadcasting your entire life and strategically confiding in people who have earned your trust. Remember what the science shows: the real burden of a secret isn't the keeping of it, it's the obsessive thinking about it. By choosing to keep your goals, finances, family drama, deep regrets, good deeds, health scares, and grudges mostly private, you're not hiding. You're protecting your most valuable resource, your mental and emotional energy. You're refusing to let outside judgment, envy, or bad advice hijack your inner peace. True strength lies in discretion. It's found in the quiet confidence of working toward a goal without needing applause, and in the wisdom of processing your struggles before inviting in the chaos of public opinion. But don't forget, the cure for a painful secret isn't always silence, it's sharing it with the right person. A therapist, a mentor, or a true confidant can be a lifeline. At the end of the day, you are the guardian of your own peace of mind. By mastering the art of thoughtful privacy, you're building a more resilient, and much more peaceful, life.